Last night, James sat by Diep's bedside the entire night, his hand gently holding her small, cold fingers. Outside, the rain had stopped, yet inside his heart, the storm hadn't. Perhaps love isn't about grand promises or beautiful words, but about staying beside someone lost in fever, waiting for just one small miracle, that they will open their eyes and still remember your name. When Diep finally opened her eyes, the world seemed to pause for a heartbeat. That faint smile, fragile, yet enough to light up the entire room, made him believe once again that true love can create miracles. Welcome to today's story, where every moment of healing begins with a love that never gave up. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can continue following the journey of James and Diep. The morning after the storm, the first rays of sunlight slipped through the cracks in the wooden wall, tracing a faint golden line across the faded surface. A soft breeze stirred the old curtain, its faint clatter echoing like the heartbeat of a house that had just survived a long, anxious night. Outside, the sound of roosters crowing blended with the rhythmic thud of a hoe in the distance, and the rumble of a cart rolling along the dirt road. Everything was peacefully familiar, yet inside that small room, Diep's breathing remained fragile, and peace was still a luxury James couldn't afford. He sat there, eyes shadowed with exhaustion, hair tousled after a sleepless night. His hands gently wiped the sweat from her forehead, then clasped hers tightly, afraid that if he let go, she might slip away to a place he could never reach. His voice was hoarse as he whispered. Outside, the sun had risen higher, pouring warm gold over the garden. Through the open doorway, James could see chickens pecking at the ground beneath the grapefruit tree, and the last drops of dew dissolving into light. In that moment, he silently wished the sunlight could be warm enough to call her back to him. He spoke softly to her, as if she were listening, about the little house they once dreamed of building together, about the fence of wildflowers she wanted to plant. His voice trembled, breaking now and then, as though he feared that speaking too loudly might shatter the fragile dream. Another breeze swept through, rustling the curtain. And in that dim, tender light, Diep's face seemed softer, a hint of color returning to her cheeks. James held his breath, eyes glistening. He didn't know how many times he had called her name through the night, only that every faint flutter of her lashes pierced his heart, caught somewhere between fear and the smallest spark of hope. Then, she moved. A faint sound escaped her lips, so soft, so fragile, that James thought he might have imagined it. He lifted his head, eyes glistening with tears. Diep's lashes fluttered like trembling leaves in the wind. Her gaze was unfocused, caught somewhere between dream and reality. "Diep, you're awake?" James's voice broke. Her lips parted slightly. "James." Just that one word, yet it made him burst into tears. His tears fell onto her hand, hot and trembling. He laughed through the sobs, relief and fear tangled together, brushing a strand of hair from her face as he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "You scared me. You know that?" Diep weakly reached for his hand. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you worry." James lowered his head, pressing his forehead to the back of her hand. Words failed him. Outside, the sun had risen fully, streaming through the wooden slats, filling the room with warm, golden light. He helped her sit up, spooning small bites of porridge to her lips. She ate slowly, her eyes shimmering as though tears were about to fall. Then, in a trembling voice, she whispered, I still can't accept it, knowing my parents are alive but chose to abandon me. The moment froze. Even the breeze seemed to pause. James gently set the bowl aside and looked at her, long and quiet. His eyes soft, yet filled with sorrow. He drew her close, his arms wrapping around her fragile shoulders. The past, we can't change it, he murmured beside her ear. But this moment, I'm here. Diep leaned into him, tears slipping down her cheeks, blending with the warmth of his breath. Outside, the sky shone a clear, washed blue, and within their hearts, the storm had finally begun to calm. The afternoon sun poured over the golden hills, warm and gentle. The rhythmic hum of the cement mixer filled the air, blending with the cheerful shouts of the workers. Diep followed James to the construction site, her steps light but curious. From afar, she squinted toward him. James was pointing and giving directions, his eyes bright with excitement, like a child creating his first gift for someone he loves. She walked closer, her hair fluttering softly in the wind. Their shadows stretched long across the reddish soil, speckled with sunlight filtering through the leaves. "I've bought this whole garden," James said with a smile, his voice calm yet proud. "Later, you can plant flowers and vegetables over there. I'll build you a small kitchen, where every morning you can hear roosters crow and smell rice cooking in the breeze." Diep looked around. A vast stretch of land unfolded before her. Beyond the slope lay rows of young pineapples, and farther still, rooftops peeking through the trees. It was as if this land had been waiting for them, two souls who had weathered every storm, to plant new seeds of faith. She whispered, almost to herself, "I never thought, after everything, I could still stand here beside you." James turned to her, gently taking her hand. "It's because you had the courage to let go of the past," he said softly. "Every wound will heal, Diep, and here we'll begin again, from the smallest things." A dump truck rumbled nearby, releasing a fresh pile of sand. The golden dust swirled in the sunlight, glittering like falling confetti. Diep smiled, a real smile, one that hadn't appeared in a long time. She realized that happiness doesn't always come with grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just standing beside someone who quietly builds your world, brick by brick, handful by handful. They sat down under a tree, where the mountain wind drifted through, cool and tender. James began describing the house plans: a red-tiled roof, windows opening toward the valley, where birds would sing each morning. "This house," he said with a soft smile, "I want to call it the House of Peace." Diep leaned her head on his shoulder, her gaze calm and distant. The weight of sorrow was gone. In its place were faith and quiet gratitude. In that wild mountain clearing, two souls, once lost to pain, had found their direction again. The house wasn't built yet, but their love had already found its foundation.